So what I'm going to do today, the bearing flange is actually upside down right now, but that's neither here nor there. Normally with a thrust bearing, you can get the you can get that type of ball and joint bearing that it self-aligns. So to try and align the whole track to this, which is a fixed bearing, is a lot harder than if it were to self-align. So, but I can do that with this one if I ream out the hole instead of the tight fit that I have now, ream it out so there's an 1/8 clearance, and bed it in a good quality LePage is what I use, silicone. Sikaflex would be awesome, but one day I'd like to be able to pull this out and put in proper bearings. And then put the shaft in, let it all cure, then put the screws on so that the screws don't distort the positioning of the bearing. Just set them in lightly as they would be just there to hold it from slipping out versus holding it structurally. So that's today's plan. Clean out the hole, set it all up, and then let it cure, and then technically get Crow out of the shed and clean her up and get her out for a test motor. Technically, I know it sails well, so but take the motor out and get it tested. Oh, some wiring. The wiring will be super basic. I'm even tempted to just do a couple alligator clips and have a cable and a couple studs run and just hook up the alligator clips and bypass. I did set up the a switch, the original lawnmower switch, temporarily until I get the controller and everything. So I set that up. I could technically, I guess, work that, but for the moment, for testing purposes, a couple posts with alligator clips would work. And just that way I could test it in reverse and forward. Be cool if I could just, and keep in mind a bit of the vibration would go out because that's full speed and it's a lawnmower motor, so full speed may be not what I want. So when I get the controller and I can slow the motor down, she'll be a lot more nicely behaved as well. Okay, so there's the tubing all siliconed in so that when I put my caps back on, I have one down below there as well, my access ports, it'll all be waterproof. And I do pretty crappy cuts, but then I make up for it because I make cool little things that will cap that. So I just have to silicone the back of that and squeeze it on and add some screws. Now I just want to point out, adding screws to that will not be easy. Where's my drill gone? Oh well, I think I left my drill overboard. But this is a little handy device that lets me put a driver bit in it and set it up so I can screw in on an angle like that and put all those screws in. So it will work. And then I'll put the shaft in, let all the silicone set up. I put one screw just to hold the position of the bearing lightly in, so that the screw holes that I already had align. So I'm not making new ones in the transom, because any holes you may know can be problematic. You don't want moisture to get in there and rust. So those ones are sealed, and the screws will be dipped in silicone or some type of adhesive, whatever. Okay. So that's how it turned out. Quite neat and tidy, actually, eh? Not bad. Anyways, could use some dusting if you want to get particular. And just note how easily this slides without the shaft. So I suspect it was the shaft. See how nicely that slides? It was the shaft being out of alignment that caused it not to slide that nicely. So, and as I mentioned, now I've reamed out the hole. Now it's time to put the shaft back in and see if I get close to that. That'd be amazing. Okay, we have the shaft reattached, And sure enough, look how nice she's sliding. So that is a good sign. I'm ticking up there just a wee bit. I don't know what, I don't know if the bearing is hitting. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn it on and see if it's hitting the casing on the inside, because I'm tipping up a little bit. Mind you, I don't have to go all the way out. I can put a stopper. It's tipping up at that last little bit right there. Do you see that? But, so I suspect maybe this is hitting the inside flange where it angles up, because it did get pushed back a little bit when I added the tightening fastener on the end that goes around the bearing. So, but that's okay. I just put a stop so it doesn't go that far. Because what's a half an inch? Half an inch extension shouldn't be too much. So if it sat there, that'd be okay too. So I have the handle thingy to put maybe something from here. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll just leave it like that, because that does work. Okay, we'll do a run. I'm just excited to see how well I got it. Look, it's sliding down all on its own. That shows you now. This is the ease of operation I was hoping for. That I'd just be relying on the clamp. So, and I can dial in the balance a little bit better as well this way. But let's give it a clamp while it's mostly down. Right there it's touching. So right there's where I'm going to arrange a stop and clamp it right there. I'll check how much, if I really need that inch. And maybe it's something, the only thing I can imagine is the flange that I have, because this pipe is attached to an attachment that tapers off to get it to the 1.5 inches. So the only thing I can think that's wanting to tip it up is that it's touching that part. Now, saying that, that the actual hose clamp might be touching it, I could just be nasty and let that wear through, because in that area it would be fairly thick pipe, so it could just wear out and then grind away until it settles into that position. So I'm okay with that too. Who knows? We'll see. But let's, for now, hook this up and do a battery run test and see the vibration. Okay, we'll set you up with much improved running. I did bring my tripod, but the little screw beastie has been working as a shim. So again, I'm only clamped to the one side. Much better. Like, that's acceptable, with in mind that shaft is offset slightly. So let's try sliding it down further and see what we do. Smoke is from the battery, like when I made contact. And again, if that motor were clamped on both sides, not half bad. That's where the shaft, that's about where it would sit. So let's push my luck a little bit more, take it out just another 1/2 inch. 1/4 inch, whatever that was. Pretty damn good, don't you think? Ooh, I'm liking. Okay, As long as I don't fry the motor at some point, we're going to find out if it's up to the task. And then all this runner stuff will have to be readapted for a different motor. I may have to go get myself a genuine type drive motor that could fit in a similar way. Even if I stole the motor from a 50 pound thrust electric motor, or something where the controls are screwed, get myself one where the motor and just extend the shaft, so I wouldn't have so I could make the same arrangement but have the torpedo running up and down, so the torpedo is not drag. At any rate, very, very pleased that this has worked well. What I'd like to do, it's always hard to clamp it and put it around, but it's not vibrating like it did, and I managed to do that before, is get it started. Throw a clamp on it now. Here. This is the hard part. Okay, let's see. How can I put it on? Okay, that got a little hot. Okay, let's see what I can do here. If I could actually not have my fingers right on it, that would be awesome. Just put the clamp on. Need a third hand. Want to give me a hand, anybody? Okay, let's see. Can I pinch it? Wrong angle. Let it run and take you for a walk. Much smoother, eh? But, okay. I have some vibration, but that's because the bearing is not screwed on. But I have a nice breeze flying here. So I'm going to try and screw that lightly and do the same thing. Like, not showing my legs to let you get a better impression of me. I'm just showing you the amount of wind that's streaming out of this tunnel, and yet no breeze there, a little there, and that should, nothing here, it all is coming straight back. So if wind is any indication, water, I'm hoping, will do the same. Woohoo! Let's see, can I grab something to... Like, look, it's even blowing way back here. Impressive. See, look, on the side, nothing. The top, nothing. And then you drop it down, crazy wind. Nothing on the side. Cool. So, and as I mentioned, you'll see the bearing is just shifting a little bit up there because I only have one screw lightly holding it. So now that I think I have the balance fairly good, I'm gonna seat those other two screws and do this again. So, a little better. And, you know, it stands to reason, because my rubber flange is not drilled dead center, it stands to reason that there would be just a hair of vibration on this end. But for the moment, for testing abilities, this is an acceptable parameter, because as I mentioned, it could be corrected. and the water will dampen. Another thing would be nice is if that controller surprised me and showed up sooner, because then I wouldn't have to run it at top speed, right? And that would lessen the problem as well, because my intention is not to burn down my battery and run full speed. I'm hoping to get about, to be honest, 3.5 knots would be nice. 4 miles an hour would be nice if I got that. That's all I really want. And it's more about range. If you settle into that speed, I'd like to take my batteries and just run them near empty to see, not empty because that's not good for them, but you know what I'm getting at. Run them down and see what kind of range I have. Just go back and forth somewhere. So there you go. So overall, I'd say a successful experiment that hasn't been tested. How about that? Let's just be optimistic. And you see how the center of the shaft is actually below the water line. So I'm hoping that with the shielding, it'll suck up some water and probably a little air too, but basically suck up enough that it spits it all out one direction. So even if it does mix in a bit of air, it gives it a bit of a jet effect. So time to do some wiring to my batteries and then get her out for a test run. Woohoo! Happy about that. Do visit roydesignthat.com for more, and even though some of my ideas are fails, it's kind of fun playing, I guess. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Ciao. About as smooth as I could get it. It's not bad. Go check it out from outside again. Ugh. My knees are killing me. Back and forth, up and down. Stop the whining. So that's as smooth as I could get it based on a flawed, drilled out. So but vibrating on the tip far less. So that is a marked improvement. And as I've mentioned to you before, I could probably manage to re-drill, but for re-drill that rubber sleeve that I'm using as a coupling. But quite honest with you, look at the tip, how steady it is. Running pretty dialed in for not doing any math. So that's after playing with my hose clamps, trying all sorts of positions. Oftentimes, if you've made it worse, that's a success, because you know if you go the other way, you'll improve it. Okay. I've already said goodbye, but I had to play with it a little bit more. And that's dialed in now. So, looking really forward to doing some electrical, I might even just do toggles, like alligator clips, as I mentioned. So I can just clip it on, hook up to the battery, and I forget, parallel series, whatever gives me 24 volts. Right now I'm using a tiny 18 volt battery. So I'm not unhappy. And as I keep mentioning, this is a test platform. So if something doesn't work, I can always patch the hole and change gears. So Crow's turning into a little bit of a interesting nut. But so far, so darn good. Really pleased. last thing I'll mention, it might seem a little loud now, but once the boat is in the water and it's not a hollow box, it's got some water pressure on the bottom of the hull, that'll deaden the noise a bit as well. It's not like the outboard was quiet, so Dee made me a nice smoothie. I feel so special. Thanks, Dee. That's my hand shaking, not the boat, by the way. I have a tremor in my one hand. Woohoo! I'm a wee bit liking. And I'll still tidy up things and paint and whatever, but right now, that's it. Some wiring, a switch, dial in the switch maybe. And, you know, the toggles would work, as in keep the switch, wire it in, and then have alligator clips to the main cables to the battery that I can just switch them if I want to switch on reverse. Something like that. Very simple arrangement for now.